Hey, Attached to Hygiene listeners. Jack here again to ask for your feedback on the show. Just head to the show notes for the link to our listener survey, and you'll get access to 5 documents on sustainability in the absorbent hygiene industry. These documents will help you accurately speak on the topic of sustainability and continue to meet the sustainability demands that your customers are asking for. And now, we'll get on to the episode. I hope with our last 2 episodes, you haven't gotten your fill on the Americas market just yet, because we've got some more insights for you today. After I wrapped up my interview with Kelly Riegert and Augusto Quiroz, Augusto mentioned he had more insights that he had collected and would like to share. So, we'll be going a bit deeper on 3 different topics in the Latin America market today with Augusto. Welcome to Attached to Hygiene, the podcast that enables you to grow your knowledge and influence in the absorbent hygiene industry. My name is Jack Hughes, and my mission is to help you, the absorbent hygiene article producer, design and produce the best possible products to meet the needs of your customers. On today's episode, we're speaking with Augusto Quiroz again. Augusto has been supporting article producers and building relationships throughout the Latin American hygiene industry for over 20 years, and he's sharing some extra bits of information that he collected but wasn't able to share in our last 2 episodes on the Americas. He'll be touching on dynamics in the menstrual health and period care market, what he's seeing when it comes to sustainable products and packaging in the region, and how the use of technology by parents throughout the region is making their lives and the lives of their babies easier. Augusto, welcome back. Thank you for agreeing to join us for a couple more minutes to share some additional information that you had. I know one of the topics, or you mentioned a few different topics of additional information that you had, and so we'll just kind of go through each one of those. And the first one was feminine care or menstrual health and that market and some of the changes that you're seeing in Latin America. So can you share some of the information that you gathered from our team and some of the other contacts we have in the industry about the menstrual health and feminine care market?
Sure, Jack. When we talk to our friends, customers, colleagues, etc., across the region, we understand the differences country by country, depending on age, depending on education. But a common topic is on menstrual health products is the more frequent use of the menstrual cup. It has been an important evolution of that product, in particular with younger generation. So femcare products really need to be more agile, dynamic, because the new generation are more inclined to use the menstrual cup these days. The acceptance of the product is much higher compared to 5 years ago, I would say. So it's very dynamic, Country by country, you see these kind of products more affordable, easy to buy online or in pharmacies or in supermarkets. So it's an interesting topic. There are different brands, different regulations, but wherever we go, wherever we see femcare products or menstrual products, is a common trend. And when talking to new generation, they are also feeling the responsibility to adopt these new products because they believe they are putting a little effort towards sustainability as well. So by reusing the menstrual cup. So it's interesting. Again, our hygiene market is super dynamic, and this is another example of how these menstrual products are evolving, day by day or year by year.
Yeah, and we're certainly seeing that in other markets as well. I don't know many people who are using the menstrual cup, but you hear about it. There's several companies out there selling them, so they're growing in popularity. But I was a little surprised when you told me that when you said that it's growing in Latin America too. But it makes sense based on what you said. Based on the conversations you had, is it more to do with sustainability, or is it cost, or is it something else, or a combination?
I think it's a combination. Obviously, it's not a very cheap product. It depends on the disposable income of each person. But when we talk to younger generation, they believe that, okay, it is time to invest, let's call it that way, for a menstrual cup instead of buying a number of regular pads packages, right? And probably it's convenience. I don't know. But it's a combination of multiple factors. Certainly is a trendy topic, and I think we will see more and more.
I would not be surprised if we see the popularity of the menstrual cup continue to grow in the coming months and years. And I think it's inevitable that it becomes a very large part of the market. We've had other guests come on and say, it's not preferred by everyone, that sometimes the sizing can be an issue, and, comfort level is something that some people don't find, they don't find it comfortable to wear or to use, but I think we'll definitely see it becoming a much larger part of the market.
Right. And Latin America, if we have been in this conversation 10 years ago, I would say, Jack, this product was not even in the radar. And today is very common when you see the access, especially for e-commerce.
Yeah, I had heard of it, a couple of years ago, but I'm not really sure how long it's been on the market. But I would probably say the same thing in other regions too. Maybe it was a little earlier in Europe, maybe it was a little earlier in the US, but certainly see it becoming a huge trend across the world from a sustainability standpoint. And then I know in places like India and Africa, they're being used as an option that is reusable and easy to clean, and kind of helps with some of the taboo issues too. And I'm sure potentially in parts of Latin America, that's also a motivator as well. But certainly, as you said, the trend around sustainability, or the movement towards more sustainable products, is driving it a ton. And you're certainly going to continue to see that, I'm sure.
Indeed, Jack. So that's a topic to keep an eye on it. The producers in the regions will continue putting extra features in their products and see how the customers, or why the end user prefer to adopt either reusable products or a disposable product.
Yeah, certainly. Now, related to that, I know another topic that you mentioned having some more insights on was sustainability. So what's happening there in the Latin America region around sustainability?
Well, Jack, in Latin America, in recent years, governments have put a special attention of the single use of plastic bags. I will understand that this is not new, for example, for Europe, but if you allow me, when we go to the USA, we see that plastic bags are common because it is part of their lives. In Latin America, that trend has changed. Is now receiving kind of a bad observation about just using plastic bags because of the sake of having a plastic bag. So we have seen that our disposable producers are putting extra attention of the content of those plastic bags. It is a step towards a sustainability effort. So what we are seeing in Latin America is that there are a number of new components of the plastic bags that are used in a baby diaper package, for example. So that will continue happening. It's not new. It has started some years ago. But now with the new regulation in different countries, we understand that will be more rapid change in terms of better use of plastic bags.
Yeah, and that was something I was kind of unaware of as well. You hear about all the trends in Europe, and obviously me being based in the US, certainly hear about different regulations or changes in the market and around sustainability for the US, but Latin America, certainly kind of a blind spot for me. So I think it's great to hear that, you're seeing regulations put in place, not just companies or individuals looking to make the change, but, governmental entities making that change and putting rules in place to limit the use of plastic bags and things like that, which is only going to help the environment. And hopefully maybe it could lead to some momentum in the United States as well, where, like I said, things are a little slower outside of a few states or cities.
Right, Jack. And I'm not an expert in the field, but there are different ways of making plastic bags, especially for this kind of product. So what we have seen is that there are also degradable plastic bags or plastic bags made of reused materials, etc. So there is a couple of parents in front of a baby diaper shelf in the supermarket that can attract them to say, okay, why should I buy this brand or the other brand? Maybe the package could be a particular point of grabbing some attention, say, I'm making a more responsible buying effort. So this is something to keep an eye on it as well, because new generation are thinking about how they impact the world by the product they buy.
Yeah, and certainly if brands can differentiate themselves in that way, it's a way to kind of get ahead in this market that in all reality is still growing. In the last episode, we talked about the potential of adult incontinence there, talked about still the growth that is there in fem care and menstrual health products. And still, it's one of the places in the Americas where, or, the several countries in the region continuing to see growth in birth rates, one of the few places as opposed to the US and Canada where we're not seeing as much growth there. So there's still a lot of potential there. Obviously, still a lot of competition. So if companies can differentiate themselves that way, it's a way to grow some market share there with these consumers who are starting to purchase more of these absorbent hygiene products.
Indeed, Jack. So this market continues to be dynamic, changing every year, and also trying to meet with the regulations country by country. But when we travel the region, we see different regulations are in place. I think the governments, depending on the city of specific countries, they are also adapting more quickly to these efforts of having a responsible product.
Yeah, and it's great. It's great to see overall. Now, the last topic that you mentioned to me is having some more information on is technology. And, we're seeing the use of technology, e-commerce, things like that growing across the globe. But you had some interesting insights on kind of the individual use of technology around products and with products, I believe, particularly in baby care, right?
Right, Jack. And I have talked to colleagues, friends in different countries, and it was a very interesting topic in the new generation that when they have a baby, now they are using more technology than before. And for example, a couple of friends, good friends in Brazil, they were sharing with me that they are using an app in their phone to measure everything about the baby. That is understandable, but that also counts how many diapers they are putting to their baby or how frequent they are changing the baby diaper, etc. So that's completely new for me. I'm a father, but I didn't use that technology some years ago. And today there is a good example how technology is also helping new parents to see, let's say, how frequent it is the time the diaper. Or in other words, if the product is meeting their expectations. So it was interesting they show me, a diaper can last 8 hours, 6 hours, etc. And they are counting how many diapers they are wearing by week or by month. So that also helps them to make an economical decision in terms of, okay, what type of budget they have. So again, this is not new for many of our listeners, but something to share that, technology also fits in decisions about, what kind of products they are buying or how can make different efforts in terms of budget or convenience about diaper products.
Yeah, and you mentioned it may not be new for some of our listeners, definitely new for me as well. I don't have kids, and so we haven't had to do that, but I think it's really interesting to hear about. And I think that, or I would think that it's probably only a matter of time if they haven't done so already before some of the brands in the region start to take advantage of that, whether it's cross promotion on the apps or creating their own apps to recommend products and using some of the information in those apps to better understand their consumers. And so I think it was surprising to hear, but maybe, I think we'll probably continue to see growth in that as well as brands, as parents see the benefit of the tools like apps. And then as brands look to take advantage of some of the information that's collected and the opportunity to kind of have a captive audience there. I think that'll be really interesting. And similar to that, we're seeing apps like that I've heard of in the US for, menstrual health and period tracking and things like that. And I would imagine if you've got parents there who are receptive to these types of tools that, people who are using period products, I would imagine are going to be very receptive to these types of tools as well, if they're not already.
Exactly, Jack. Yeah, the menstrual products apps are not new, but it's probably more common to help women to track their periods, etc. But now for baby diapers, it's like, okay, I can put additional information above, the baby size or baby weight, etc., and how these combine all together. And I don't know if in the future there will be an app that measures everything, These days technology evolves. So we are using a lot of apps in our phones, whatever we do as professionals or simply for fun, etc. So that could be an opportunity to also have a more open dialogue with the end users.
Yeah, I'm sure it's inevitable to not only, as you said, see some apps out there that kind of do it all for a mom or for a parent to track periods, to track baby, the health and the progression of the baby, and then inevitably probably recommend products. And as you said, we'll also certainly see brands take advantage of that, whether it's just using some of the information in there to get to better know their customers or actually making those product recommendations or referrals as well. Yeah, I think it'll definitely be a big part of the industry moving forward. And something that we've talked about on some of the other episodes is kind of the advent or the introduction of these smart diapers. We're seeing them a lot in adult incontinence where they're connected to apps or to sensors and things like that. But I think we'll see it in both baby care and menstrual health as well, where we're gonna start to have products passing along information to these apps or to other applications or software to be able to track the health of the user as well. And I think that'll be a big change in the industry as far as innovation and technology goes in the future.
Indeed, Jack. Technology is here now, is the present, is the future. So new parents having their first baby, they will adopt a lot of different things that we used to do in the past, and that shows how this industry is moving forward, is adopting new features, is really trying to get in touch with the customers. And to me, technology doesn't replace the human touch of having a mom or a dad open a diaper or feeling how soft the top sheet is, or how heavy, how thin or thick is the core, etc. But once they are more educated, they can jump in immediately to do a more electronical transactions or, let's say, technology-based decisions.
Yeah. It's as you said, you can't remove that human touch, but the apps can certainly make life easier or allow them to make more informed decisions for products or for the health of themselves or their babies. So definitely here to stay, and I think it'll be really fun to see how it evolves.
Right. So everything we hear, we keep you and our listeners posted. It's a fantastic market, very dynamic. So those are my additional thoughts in terms of what we are seeing these days in the region.
Well, we appreciate you coming back on, taking a little bit of time to share that additional insights you had with us. And yeah, certainly appreciate your time and your effort, Augusto. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. It's always a pleasure.
So there you have it. You now have some extra bits of information so you know what period products are gaining ground and what market-facing technologies to focus on to reach and support your consumers in Latin America. As I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we're offering all of our listeners the chance to get 5 different documents covering several aspects of sustainability in the absorbent hygiene industry in exchange for taking our listener survey. You'll get a glossary, an additional terminology document, 2 white papers, and an overview of eco-labels sent from me directly to your inbox. This will take you less than 1 minute and would really help us to continue to grow the show into something our listeners will love. Just head to the show notes, click the survey link, and answer 4 questions. That's it. I really appreciate your time and continued support of Attached to Hygiene. Attached to Hygiene is brought to you by Bostik and is hosted by me, Jack Hughes. It is produced and edited by me with the help of Paul Andrews, Michelle Tonkovitz, Emery Chernis, and Nikki Ackerman at Green Onion Creative. Our theme music is by Jonathan Boyle. We'd like to extend a special thank you to Augusto Quiroz for joining the show again. If you'd like to get in touch with Augusto, you can feel free to address emails to him at our email address, hygiene@bostik.com. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.